Hey guys, this is YugiSatan here, coming with a pretty bad Paleo Frog deck profile. I ended up attending YCS Columbus, the 200th YCS this weekend. I ended up going 5-3-1, almost day 2, but then I lost the last round. So, we're going to start off with the monsters. Basically, our deck profile starts out with, got 3 swaps, 3 dupes, and 2 Ronin Totem. This is the normal ratios, just about. Some people would play 3 Ronin just in case they accidentally banish something off of Desires or something if they play it. Some people like it to stay at 2, saying that 2 is enough because you only play 6 frogs. You can't abuse it really without having more frogs. So yeah, that's why I played 2 Ronin instead of 3. Spells. Got 3 Card Demise. And 1 Pot of Desires. Reason for 1 Pot of Desires. I don't like it. Never have. Probably never will. Unless I'm playing a deck that doesn't care about combo pieces too much and it just spits out random trash like a 60 card deck or something like that. Then I'll probably run it at 2 or 3. But in this deck, you have so little monsters and you need them. When it comes to your Ronins, you need both of them. You can't really risk banishing both of them. If you banish 1, you can still make it just fine. If you banish 2, you're going to have a rough time. For the Paleo traps, 2 of the Foolish, 3 in MST, because negating is fun, 3 Book of Moon, and 2 Karma Cut. Ratios for this, it's what I was handed. This deck is not mine. We were waiting in line for the security check to get through into the event. And was my friend was pulling out his demises for me to use in a stun deck that I was going to play originally just for fun. He pulled them out of this Paleo deck. I looked at it, I was like, what, you have a whole deck there? He's like, yes. I was like, you know what, just hand that to me, I'll just play that. It saves me time from having to put everything together, make sure I have everything right and everything. So that's why I play these. If I was to actually work on this deck more in the future, I'd probably cut this down to 1. And probably take this out for attack or defense modifier or something like that. If the meta stayed this way, that is. Because I found myself needing to have my totally awesome be higher than 22. I needed it to be like 25 or 26 at times. So just making my opponent's monsters at least attack and defense would have been more beneficial than just sending a trap from deck to grave. Because what if I have nothing really to send that would help out, then I'd rather just keep them in my deck anyways. And then to our floodgates, best part of the deck. 2 anti-spell, 2 mistake, 2 rivalry, and 1 goes in match. Like I said, this is what I was handed, so this is what I played. I'd like to play goes in match at 2 or 3 and cut rivalry down to 1, maybe keep it at 2, if I could. That's pretty much it for the floodgates. You got 1 more floodgate. MVP. I played Sky Striker 5 times. I opened this in the majority of my games against Sky Striker. I'd say probably about 4 of my games out of all of the 5 matches, I didn't have Imperial at all. I didn't see it at all. But I had it at some point in all the other matches. It was just ridiculous. You got 2 Torrential Tribute and 1 Solemn. I'd play 3 Torrential in the future, definitely, if I ever played this again. But considering what else is left in the deck, it's kind of why there's weird ratios on a couple things in here. To get to the fun part, got 1 Magic Cylinder and 1 Dimension Ball. I would have played 2 or 3 Magic Cylinder, but I didn't feel like going through my whole bag to find the other 2 to throw them in here, so I just grabbed what I had in my binder. I had both of those in my binder, so I just grabbed them. And then 2 Drone Lockbird. Yes, this is in the main, is not in the side. Yes, I am playing Demise. Yes, I'm playing a stun deck, essentially. So, yes, I know playing hand traps is very bad in Demise deck in general. But the reason why I play them is because of this. 3 Reincarnation. I like reincarnation because a lot of people they search, and a lot of times they search something that they only have like 2 or even 1 of in their deck or something like that. So after they search, you're like on resolution of add reincarnation, so they banish it, and it could get rid of something important at times. Like you're playing against True Draco and they end up searching their Dynamite. And then you just flip this, gets rid of their hand. You can also trigger your Paleo traps in the grave. And then if you at any chance open this in hand with 1 of these, or even 2 of them, then you basically have it where your opponent's now playing with no hands. There was a time where I went first. In my opening hand, I had a Desires, and for the cards, I activated it. And I just set 5 cards, passed for 1 card in my hand, which is Control. My opponent activated Engaged Search. I was like, on resolution of add, flip reincarnation. He's like, okay, that's fine. So I said, no response. I said, no. I was like, okay, draw. He's like, oh, okay, game 2. So our game 1 lasted like 2 minutes for that. And our game 2, I ended up opening Anti-Spell, Mistake, and Imperial Order. So he just kind of had a very bad day. And that match lasted like 5 minutes. And that was round 6. He ended up getting so mad that he slammed his bag against the table as he was leaving and didn't even sign the match slip. Onto the extra deck. I'm not really playing 15 card extra deck, essentially, because I never really went into much. 3 Toads, Sky Cavalry, this guy, and this guy. Yeah, pretty good. If I played another Frog and more Paleo Traps, I'd want to play 2 of this. This guy was amazing. He won me a couple games. Never made this guy. Kind of wanted to at times, but I never really had anything good for him. So all I ended up making were these when it came to Xyz. Most I made Toads in a match was just 2. And then the rest of it's Link monsters. 1 Link Spider, because the Paleo Traps are all normals, so if you're trying to link up to a Borload or Top of Logic or something like that, then you need the Link Spider. Proxy Dragon just helps out to get into them, or if you have all the resources to make a big field with like a Mistar Boy with a Proxy and make like multiple Toads or something else like that, something awkward, then you can. 2 Mistar Boy. I want to play 3. I liked 2, but I found 2 times where I wanted to make a 3rd one to go for big damage. 1 Nightmare Phoenix. Popping spells and traps is great. Always has been, always will be. And then you got 1 Firewall, never made it. Sorry, Yuja, never made it. Top Logic, never made it. Probably should have, but I didn't really need it. And Borload. Only made Borload once. So basically, in my extra deck, all I actually used were these when it comes to links, and these when it came to Xyz. It's a fun deck. I mean, fun for you, not for your opponent, but whatever. Side deck. The side deck is very bad because I pulled random stuff out of my binder again. 2 Fog Kings. 1 Raigeki. Originally on my deck list I already done Dark Hole. I was just gonna play that. I wanted to make it look bad and only play Dark Hole, not play Raigeki or anything like that. And considering how my monsters don't really care too much to be destroyed unless they're Paleo Traps, they get banished. But my frogs, they're okay to go back in the grave. And I also get the effect off of Totally Awesome if it would be destroyed by Dark Hole. But last minute, I decided to change it to Raigeki just in case I needed it more. 3 Bottomless. The card is insane. I definitely would want to main 2 of them in the future. 1 Heavy Storm Duster. 2 Forced Back. 2 Lost Wind. Another insane card. Magic Deflector. Yet again, another pretty insane card. I ended up keeping it in hand just to ditch off of the Dynamiscus more than actually setting it and using it, though. The 2 times I did set it, it ended up getting MST'd. But it was better for it to be an MST'd than one of my Floodgates, so I was completely fine with that. 1 Mask Restrict, and 2 Wiretap. Never cited Wiretaps at all. I kind of should have in game 3 of round 9 when I played against Pendulum, because if I would have opened this, then I would have had game, because we were going into time very shortly, and he ended up opening double red reboot, so that's how I lost the last round, which is ridiculous. But yeah, so my matchups. Round 1 was Trickstar. I won that Round 2 to Draco, I lost because in game 3 I opened up double swap, double demise, and an anti-spell. Round 3 was Mermail. It was pretty easy. I just sat there and let Toad do its thing, and whenever he started making extra link stuff, I just made Sky Cavalry bounce back his firewall and sit there and pick apart his board. Round 4, Sky Striker Trickstar, I lost in time. He sat there when we had just a minute left until time. He drew a card, had 2 cards. He sat there, fanned his grave, fanned mine, looked through his extra deck, fanned his grave, set a card, did it again, and then time ended up being called as he said in phase. I was down by like 400, and I had a Toad sitting on field, so I'd do just poke him once, and I would have won, but time rules, it sucks, it happens. Round 5, Sky Striker Magnite invoked. His deck seemed a little weird, but as it was going, it seemed like it was actually pretty consistent. It just looked weird with some of the cards he played, but they actually made sense once I saw the rest of his cards in his deck. It was pretty good. We ended up going to game 3, but I opened up Imperial Order, so we kind of just sat there and couldn't do anything. And I sat on like a Dupe Frog set for like 4 turns. Round 6, Sky Striker. That's the guy that ended up slamming his bag against the table, leaving without signing the match slip. Round 7, Sky Striker again. This time it was my draw, because towards the end of it, it's his turn. He has 2 cards. He had 1 card set, and 1 card in hand. The card set was Shock Cannon, and the card in hand was Evenly. And what I had on the board was this guy. We had 2 materials under it, along with an anti-spell in the middle column, and then a Morello summoned as a monster right here as the setup. And he ended up going to battle phase, activate Evenly. So I was like, okay, chain, target my anti-spell. He's like, okay, that's fine. And so chain resolved backwards, chain link 2 will resolve, this will get destroyed into the grave, and then the Evenly will banish this face down. And he sat there like, okay, and I said, okay, now this guy's effect off of the anti-spell getting popped from the field. He's like, wait a second, no. Anti-spell is marked for destruction, cards marked for destruction, they'll go till the end of the chain, and blah, blah, blah. I sat there and tried to say something that was the most retarded thing I've ever heard. I sat there and told him, I was like, okay, no. So you know how in a chain, where you like MST something as the last chain, then when MST resolves, gets into the grave. He said, yeah. I was like, yeah, that's exactly what it is. Think of this as MST, targeting this as chain link 2. He's like, yeah, but there's already marked for destruction. I was like, no, Evenly doesn't destroy, it banishes stuff face down. It doesn't target anything for destruction, doesn't mark anything for destruction. I get to pick what I want to banish and everything. And there's absolutely no reason to even think that that would do anything weird. So we end up having to have a judge call. This was like a minute and a half until time was being called, and all I had to do was just poke him with this because I was like 34 and he had 42, 4100 or something like that. All I had to do really was just draw and poke him for game. I was just targeting this to destroy so I can get his effect to excavate a card, and if it's trapped, then get to use it and such, add it. So then after all of this happened, time got called after the judge left, and he was like, oh, well, I guess we draw. I was like, so you don't want to sit here and just finish this real quick, considering we had to wait a couple minutes for a judge and everything? He's like, no, because we're both fighting for day 2 and everything, so we should just go ahead and draw because time's already called. Now I was like, okay, it's kind of shitty, but whatever. I didn't really make a big deal about it. I just asked that one question. And he said, yeah, and plus I would have gotten it anyways. You wouldn't have won in time or gotten me low enough, but he's had a shark cannon. I was like, yeah, okay, so if you shark cannon a guy from my grave and put it to your board, then during my turn I'll just use this to pop it again and poke you. Like, it's really easy. And then whatever I had, I could just set it or something, or if I drew another monster, I could have summoned it and poked you again as well. And I still had Paleos loaded up in the grave. I had a Ronin and a Frog in there as well. So, like, I don't get it. And then round 8, Sky Striker again, another win. And then round 9, Pendulum, I lost that. Game 1, he made his big board. I almost powered through it, almost decked him out. And the last card he drew out of his deck was what actually got him to win. He attacked for a perfect game at the very end. Game 2, I had anti-spell with Toad. He had a purple poison, On the field, set down. I attacked it. He activated effect. So I was like, okay, toad effect. I'm gonna set it and everything. He's like, okay, well, I still get the effect. It's being destroyed. Well, no, because it's no longer where it is and all kinds of stuff. It's just weird rulings, just like Call of the Haunted with did Neb or something else that says if this card's normal summon, then you can. And if it's being destroyed in the middle of chain and stuff, it's something stupid. So we end up having to have a judge called 9-minute extension. He's like, okay, let's just go game 3. Game 3, he opened up double red reboot, made a board. I ended up breaking his board almost fully, left him with a decode talker, and then he ended up ready to rebooting me twice, so I just couldn't do anything at all. It also didn't help that all I had was the Book of Moon guy, an anti-spell, Imperial Order, and then a Solemn Judgment afterwards, but he ready to reboot me twice, so it kind of didn't really do too well. Yeah, so I played Five Sky Striker. This deck did amazing against it. It can grind, it can break apart their board slowly, do interruptions, and of course, Seal Floodgates is what really gets you the majority of the games. But yeah, I Troll and Reincarnation locked people, I think it was like 4 or 5 times total all day long. It was hilarious. People thought the deck was going to be dumb and that I wouldn't make it or anything like that. That I wouldn't make it day 2, that I wouldn't even get anywhere close to it. And I surprised a lot of people with it. Yeah, stun decks are crazy.